All right, I just got back from a long walk, and I want to show you what I've been going through. Years ago, I bought one of these oscillators. It's a 10 megacycle oscillator, and I didn't notice it had a control voltage input. I put 3 volts across it. It gave me 10 megacycles output. It was off by 22 hertz, which is nothing. Okay, I calibrated this guy. And then I went on to build all kinds of circuits. This has a control voltage pin, which you have to give it either 1.1 volt to 1.5, and that's to bring it in dead on 10 megacycles. Now this is old. This is obsolete now. This is 14 years old. I have one down here that I'm using for the standard, and I got 2 resistors. I got a voltage drop network to give me that control voltage. And then that brought the unit in even closer. I'd say it's within 3 hertz. Anyway, remember this unit, the one digit was bobbling. Well, this unit, as close as it can get, is 100 hertz. Okay, so if you want to do some, let's say, real good oscillators, and you want to check them for drift and that, this won't do it. Okay, that's what I found. Now, I went looking, and I kept seeing videos of these things. And this is a PLJ, I believe it is, 8 LED unit. If you can look it up, the manual for this is very easy to find. It came out in 2014. The workmanship varies between unit to unit. Now, so after playing with this and realizing it wasn't doing what I wanted to, I watched the videos for this. And then I got this one over here. And this is supposed to come with a 13 megacycle crystal. And it came with a 13.5 for whatever. And using the trim resistor for the voltage control of this little tiny unit, which I'll show you. Remember, it was just here. Okay. All right. This is the old unit. Look how big it is. Look at my thumbnail. My thumb. Okay. Okay. Now, here's the new one. I have it in a plastic bag, so don't get lost. Hopefully it's in the frame. Let me check. Right here. Okay. That's the difference. And this is temperature controlled, just like this one is. Now the guys on the groups tell you it isn't, but it is. If you go look them up, you'll see you can buy them temperature controlled. There's also, each company produces one that's the same exact size and everything, but it's better parts per million. It's more accurate, and it costs a little bit more money, but it's still the same size, and it's still temperature regulated. So I started seeing videos with this, and people say it's within a hertz. So I ordered one. And now we're back to that one that I wanted to show you. It's got a resistor hanging off the back. I bought this one, and right out of the bag it was way off. I mean, way off. So I looked at it, and the little tiny can, we'll call it, the crystal can, wasn't 13 megacycles. It was some off the wall, leftover from some other unit. And they put it on here, made this way off. So I got discouraged. So I went looking and looking. Finally, I found a guy that got basically 2 units, and one was off a little bit, and he figured out how. So I got more and more knowledge about it. So I ordered these 2, and one of them was dead shorted. The short seems to have gone away, so it must have been a flake or something. But one of them is very accurate, within 1 hertz. Okay, now. It's just as accurate as this HP. Okay, now this HP, they're going for over $100 now. I got it for $35, and I just had to calibrate it. Now last night I went to recalibrate it, and the stupid little capacitor that's inside of it, it was floating around here this morning. It seems to have disappeared. But the little capacitor unit that went for that unit, it froze up. I couldn't turn it. I couldn't turn the knob. So I had to take this apart and put a new tuning cap in it. And I start looking at references. If you really want to get a 10 megacycle reference, they do sell them. Some people go, use a GPS unit. Well, I don't have a GPS unit. Buy a real expensive signal generator. I don't have one of them either. Okay? My stuff was basically for tubes and transistors. And I'm not getting into GPS stuff because you just buy it. It's, you know, why reinvent the wheel? But I just wanted to tell you, these are pretty cool. And the build quality, I don't know if you can see, this LED isn't sitting straight. The soldering is poor. And yet, same batch, this one's done correctly. Okay? And I just wanted to show you that. And if you want to work with a real high frequency oscillators and huff and puffs, and you don't have an HP for $100, you might luck out and get one of these for under $10, and it's just as accurate. Okay, it'll get you where you want to get to. Okay, and go look at all the videos on this thing. People have put them in boxes, and they actually use them for something. And it's got some tricks. Get the manual. When you turn it on, if you hold this bottom button down, it does a reset. You step through, you could change the brightness of the display. There are people that were complaining the unit draws too much current because they didn't know how to turn the display down. Everything has a steep learning curve. Even buying something off eBay, knowing what you're buying before you get it. But the guy that sold me this unit that had the wrong can in it, his reviews are people saying, don't buy anything from this guy. He's just selling broken items. And this was in a package and sealed, but he probably knows he's got a whole batch that has the wrong crystal oscillator in it. And it's supposed to be 13 megacycles. And if it's 13 point, mine case it's 547 or whatever it is, it throws this way off. And there is a trim pot, but it won't bring it in. And think, I went from this bob one at 100 hertz to buying this thing that had the wrong can in it. It was pretty funny, and I stuck it out. I said, stay with it. And then in the interim, I read a lot of messages telling you that these little tiny things aren't temperature regulated. You know, here's the back side of it. And that's how small it is. And it used to be this big. And I thought this was small. Okay. See, I'm used to these guys. Okay. I have a crap load of these. And these are really accurate, but not if you're going down into the hertz. When you want to work with a huff and puff, those, when you get the circuit operating correctly, you probably have 20 hertz lock points. And you want to be able to see that. Okay? And I was using this thing, I was pulling my hair out. And then at some point, I got this thing out, and I was using this. But it would be nice to actually have the display on the huff and puff circuit and leave it there, and you get everything working. And I also want to tell you, there's a file up there by a guy named Harris, and he explains everything you need to do to get an oscillator to be very stable and it won't drift. And he's talking, again, frequencies used in other countries. Now the other guy, he gets all upset when I say that. Well, if you go look at Wikipedia and you look up at the bands that this guy keeps telling me, it's your country, pal. Right in the Wikipedia it mentions these frequency ranges aren't popular in the United States. And I remember, I am in the United States. And when I say something, it's based on the United States. Okay, what we have here, what we use here. I went through this crap with the CNC. For 20 years, I developed CNC machines that could be put together very easily using hardware store materials. Well, right away, guys from other countries were complaining to me that their hardware stores didn't have those parts. And I kept telling them, USA only, and Canada. And Canada was actually able to get the aluminum channel for the windows. I went through all this with people. I kept saying USA only, and I explained why. And then a guy would beg me, and I would send him the plans, and then he'd go on an American forum and complain he couldn't get any of the parts, and mess me up, okay? And it was annoying. People are really annoying when you have to deal with them. Like they said, the public is the hardest thing to deal with, okay? dealing with people's eccentricities and all this other stuff. But I want to tell you, if you get one of these, they're pretty cool. That works right. I'm not going to tell you the vendor I used, because the vendor I used just came online with a new name. He's in New Jersey, just like the other guy. Could be still the same guy that sold me the first one. That was no good. Okay? You don't know. These are Chinese vendors that sell this stuff. Okay? They could be United States stock, but it's a Chinese vendor. And when you email them any kind of question, they're unable to answer you because they don't speak English. Okay? So you got to know that going into it. So, like I said, I bought one. It was total junk, had the wrong crystal in it. But it got me closer to where I wanted to get to. I realized that the 100 hertz digit wasn't bobbling, so I knew I was closing in, because this circuit and this circuit are pretty much identical. Okay, and why does this one bobble at 100 hertz and this one doesn't? That's the next thing. I'm going to take a break and I'm going to go look through it. It could be just the software, but both these were originally designed by the same company in 2014, and the manuals are online, and there is a steep learning curve. There's several videos on this stuff where the guy shows you how to set the intensity, and here in the back is a connector, and this is where you switch between your IFs. You can preset this for different IF shifts. Now, the original manual says this thing works for 25 times in a row, and then it locks up, and you have to hold the reset button to turn it on. I think the software might have been updated since then, so it doesn't lock up at the 25th time. I think originally they might have been using somebody's software without permission, and that guy limited the software, knowing the Chinese were just going to steal it, and they did. But that's where we're at, and I did learn something, that these old guys that I bought 2 of them, and I was totally happy with them when I put the 3 volts across it, and I got 10 megacycles out, but it was off by like 22 hertz, something like that. And then by putting, and this one I have two resistors across the in series across the power supply, and then the center point, I run that to the voltage control, and then it brought this thing in even closer, and then I was able to calibrate that. And like I said, the capacitor was bad. I had to open it up. I had to do surgery last night on the HP, and I wasn't happy. This thing is it's really old, and all the pieces are like brittle inside, and you can tell it's been on a long time wherever it was used. But these things are going for over $100 now, and all the caps have to be changed in them. Okay, it's not worth $100, but eBay's getting some really incredible prices. Okay, but I just wanted to show you, I do stay busy, and I did a lot of thinking before I bought one of these. I said, I'll buy one, and sure enough, I got one, and right away I spotted it. When it was way off, I go looking at the crystal, because I learned on these, went looking at the crystal, and it was 13.546, 5, whatever. I'm like, that's bullshit. And you can turn the trim pot all you want, but it'll never bring it down to 13 megacycles. But that's my view on this thing. Like I said, there are other videos on this, and if you do get a good one, they're pretty slick. And I don't know how they'll hold up. You get to go when you put it in a box with a power supply, and 3 months later it don't work anymore. I don't know. Okay, I just tell you what I went through. But I bought this thing 14 years ago. It's a Fox. It's got a little Allen key on the top thing to adjust it, and then you can also adjust it with voltage. But I don't have a reference that good. I don't have a GPS. I don't have a $3,000 signal generator like everybody else seems to have. They have $20,000 worth of test equipment, and they're playing with $3 circuits. They're on YouTube. I try to go with the flow, use what I got, use a little more smarts instead of buying your way out, because most of these circuits I built, I have no use for them. But it eats at me. Why didn't it work? Why didn't this work? How come that doesn't work? And then when you see someone else actually say the thing, I bought 2, and on the one video, the guy has 2 of these, and one reads better than the other. And then he got the second one to work as good as the first one, but it doesn't warm up as good. That's because if you look, he gives you the part numbers of these little crystals, and it's actually a crystal oscillator, and he's got two different brands. Okay, if you really dig and really read and really pay attention, you will figure it all out. And in the end, you really have no use for the thing. But I like challenges. I like learning, and it is what it is. I think that's it. All right, that's it.